I call upon the spirit of the owl, messenger of wisdom. Welcome to the Temple of the Owl. Merry meet, I am your host, Matt Sal, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Here at the Temple of the Owl, located deep in the forests of Northern California. In this episode, we will discuss the Shroud of Turin, here at the temple, where we talk about spirituality on all levels, but it's through the perspective of a modern witch. As always, these are just ideas to help you live a magical life and think about things differently. So take the information and do what you will with it. I want to thank everyone for listening and thank everyone for your support. Special thank you to those listening on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Go to troubledminds.org, and I'm inviting you guys to be a part of those conversations led by my friend Michael Strange. And I want to thank him for putting on these shows and inspiring me to do these shows. So, I like to start the show with what I call the MOD, or the message of the day. And today, it's just usually a random quote that I find that helps me explain the show topic. And today's quote is bound in linen and mystery, the shroud whispers secrets of the sacred and the unseen, where faith and the unknown dance in the twilight of the eternal. And it's a random quote that I found off the internet, but I wanted to talk about this Shroud of Turin because it's really interesting to me, and I'm looking at it from like a witch's perspective, but also remember that here we're respectful of all religions. And so let's just talk about it and think about things about what it is and what it means to me and how mysterious this artifact is. So the Shroud of Turin is a centuries-old linen cloth that bears the image of a man who appears to have suffered physical trauma consistent with the crucifixion. Many believe this man to be Jesus of Nazareth, making the shroud one of the most studied and controversial religious artifacts in history. The shroud measures approximately 14 feet long and 3.5 feet wide. The image of the shroud is faint, but it shows the front and the back view of a man with his hands crossed over his groin. The man appears to have wounds consistent with the crucifixion, like nail marks on the wrists and feet and a wound in the side. The marks suggest the crown of thorns. The shroud's existence was first documented in the 14th century, but its history before is unclear. Some believe it was kept in the Constantinople and early in Edessa, which is modern-day Turkey, while others think it originated during the medieval period. The shroud was housed in various locations throughout history. It eventually came to the possession of the House of Savoy in the 16th century. It has been housed in Turin, Italy, since 1578, in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. In 1988, radiocarbon dating tests were conducted on the shroud. The tests suggest that the cloth dates between 1260 and 1390, which led many to believe it was a medieval creation. However, some researchers argue that the sample was tested from a section of the cloth that was repaired in the Middle Ages, which would skew the results. And that's kind of what I believe. I believe that it talks about how these nuns came, there was like fires and stuff like that that hurt the shroud, and these nuns came and kind of repaired it. And I feel like they accidentally grabbed the fibers and tested the fibers from that, and that's why they think it's not as old as they think it is. But some suggest it could have been created by a form of artistic technique. Others propose it was formed by a burst of radiant energy, probably at the moment of resurrection. Well, that's really interesting. But the image is not painted, and there are no signs of pigment or brushstrokes, leading to the speculation that its origins, the bloodstains on the shroud, have been identified as real human blood. Studies suggest that the type of blood is AB, a rare blood type found in the Middle Ages, though this finding is also debated. The Catholic Church has not taken an official stance on authority of the shroud, but it does regard it as an important religious relic, worthy of veneration. Popes have prayed before the shroud and referred to it as a reminder of Christ's suffering. The shroud continues to be the source of debate among historians, scientists, and theologians. Some view it as a powerful religious icon, while others see it as an elaborate medieval forgery. The ongoing mystery of its origins adds to its intrigue. And I feel like that's something we gotta think about too, is that we don't know for sure, and so it comes down to like faith, like believing. And thinking about like that is like, when it comes to faith, like there doesn't need to be proof. People will believe or not believe, and I think that's important to the story too, is not really knowing, not really understanding it fully, and it's like a mystery. But the shroud is rarely displayed to the public, but when it is, it draws large crowds of pilgrims and tourists. I would love to go see it. The last public display was in 2015, and the next is not scheduled until a significant occasion warrants it. That's interesting. It's usually kept in a specifically designed, climate-controlled case to preserve it. Whether it's a genuine relic of the Christ crucifixion or a remarkable piece of medieval art, the Shroud of Turin continues to captivate people around the world, inspiring faith, curiosity, and controversy. The Shroud of Turin itself is not directly related to witchcraft, but it's primarily a Christian religious relic associated with the crucifixion of Jesus. However, there are a few ways where the shroud might intersect with the themes found in witchcraft or broader occult practices. In many traditions, including witchcraft, physical objects can hold power, especially those connected to significant spiritual or historical events. The Shroud of Turin, believed by many to be the burial cloth of Jesus, it's seen as a powerful relic. In witchcraft, relics or sacred objects, like crystals, amulets, or ancient tools, they're often imbued with spiritual energy and used in rituals. Just as the shroud is seen by some as a connection to the divine, in this case Jesus Christ, the witches might use items they believe connect them to the deities, spirits, or other powerful forces of the universe. The idea that a physical object can serve as a conduit for a spiritual power is a common thread. The shroud is notable for its bloodstains that correspond to the wounds of the crucifixion. Blood has long been a potent symbol in many spiritual practices, including witchcraft. It represents life force, sacrifice, and the boundary between life and death. In some forms of witchcraft, blood is used symbolically or ritually to empower spells, much as the blood on the shroud is seen as a testament to the ultimate sacrifice in Christianity. The shroud is intimately connected to the idea of resurrection, a theme that can resonate in certain witchcraft practices. Some rituals or spells in witchcraft may focus on transformation, rebirth, and the cycles of life and death. The shroud is a symbol of the resurrection. It can be seen as representing the ultimate transformation from death to life. The shroud has long been a subject of esoteric interpretations and theories, many of which delve into the hidden and mystical meanings. Some occult traditions, including certain branches of witchcraft, seek hidden knowledge and the understanding of the mysteries of existence. The shroud, with its mysterious origins and its image that it bears, can be a symbol of a quest for hidden truth. The way the image on the shroud was formed remains a mystery. In witchcraft, there is often an emphasis on manifestation, using energy, intention, and bringing something into being. The shroud's image, seemingly appearing without human intervention, can be compared to the idea of something being manifested through powerful, unseen forces. Throughout history, the lines between religious and magical practices have often blurred. In medieval and early modern Europe, where the belief in relics like the Shroud was widespread, many people also believed in the power of the charms, amulets, and other objects used in witchcraft. The Shroud, the reverence for the Shroud as a powerful object, could be seen as part of the broader cultural context where religious and many beliefs are often intertwined. While the Shroud is not inherently connected to witchcraft, the themes of sacred objects, blood symbolism, transformation, and the quest for hidden knowledge create interesting parallels that might resonate with some aspects of witchcraft and broader esoteric traditions. And I like that because it does kind of blend in that, because it's talking about the mystery of life and death and not knowing, not having to know. It's just that it's pretty cool how we have this artifact, and like I said, we don't need to know everything about it. We just have to have faith that it is something powerful. Another thing I want to talk about is with the Shroud of Turin was that this subject, it has been really controversial theories, and some of which them attempt to connect it to the UFO and extraterrestrial beings. While these theories are far outside the mainstream, they do reflect the Shroud's enigmatic nature and the human tendency to link mysterious phenomena. So let's talk about that. The ancient astronaut theory suggests that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth in the distant past and had a significant impact on human history, culture, and religion. People that are in this theory often point to religious texts, ancient monuments, and mysterious artifacts as evidence for these interactions. Some people propose that the Shroud of Turin could be linked to these ancient astronauts. They speculate that the image of the Shroud might have been created using advanced technology beyond the capability of the time. This could imply that the being represented on the Shroud was influenced by, or perhaps even was, an extraterrestrial entity. In this view, the Shroud might be considered a piece of evidence of contact between humans and extraterrestrials. The image of the Shroud is unlike any known form of art or photographic technique from the medieval period or earlier. The formation remains unexplained, leading to the speculation. Some theorists suggest that the image was created by a burst of radiation, possibly at the moment when Jesus was resurrected. Extending this idea, UFO enthusiasts argue that this radiation might not have been a natural phenomenon, but rather the result of advanced technology, perhaps from an extraterrestrial source. They propose that this technology could have been responsible for imprinting the image onto the cloth, using a process beyond our current understanding. Some UFO theorists interpret key religious figures, including Jesus, as possibly being extraterrestrial beings who visited Earth. This interpretation suggests that the miracles and the events described in the religious text could be the result of advanced alien technology. The Shroud of Turin might be seen as a relic that captures not only the physical appearance of Jesus, but also hints at the formation of the potential for radiation, and seeing that Jesus was not of this world. I think that's pretty interesting. Diana Posolka talks about this in her book, American Cosmic, and she talks about how these artifacts could be somehow made by not from this earth. Another theory involves the idea of time travel, where the Shroud might have been created by future humans or extraterrestrial beings capable of traveling back in time. If one believes that UFOs are piloted by time travelers rather than extraterrestrials, The shroud can be seen as a product of advanced technology brought from the future. This theory often intersects with UFO lore, suggesting that the shroud is a remnant of time travelers' influence on historical events. And these are just theories, just throwing out there different kinds of ideas. And the mainstream view is the Shroud of Turin is either genuine religious relic or a medieval artifact, with its origins rooted in human history rather than extraterrestrial or time-traveling phenomena. However, the persistence of these alternative theories highlights the shroud's enduring mystery and the ability to captivate the imagination. The Shroud of Turin and the Vatican have a complex and significant relationship between the shroud's importance and the religious artifact and the Catholic Church's role to the custodianship. The shroud's documented history in the 14th century when it was in the possession it later became into the possession of the House of Savoy in the 15th century. Officially, the shroud was to Holy See, making the Vatican the legal owner of the shroud. Despite this, it remains in Turin, under the care of the local archdiocese. The Vatican treats the shroud with great reverence, recognizing its profound religious significance to many Catholics. It is seen as a powerful symbol of the Christ's passion, even if its authenticity as actual burial cloth of Jesus still remains under debate. And it's interesting how the church doesn't really, they don't really say yes or no, but they still kind of keep it in this thing. They keep it in this glass case and they pray to it. That's pretty crazy. The Vatican has permitted various scientific studies to the shroud over the years. And I talked about how they did a carbon dating test. It was last displayed in 2015. Popes historically showed deep respect for the shroud. Pope John Paul II visited the shroud in 1998, calling it the mirror of a gospel. Pope Francis also expressed his reverence for the shroud during his public exhibition in 2015, referring to it as the icon of Christ's love. The shroud presence in Turin has made the cathedral a pilgrimage site. Believers often approach the shroud with prayers and a sense of spiritual awe, seeing it as a tangible connection to the suffering of Christ. When the Vatican owns the shroud, its day-to-day care and preservation is managed by the Archdiocese in Turin. The Vatican oversees efforts to protect and preserve the shroud, ensuring it remains intact for future generations. The Vatican has supposed ongoing research on the shroud, balancing respect for the shroud's religious significance and the openness to the scientific inquiry. This dual approach reflects the Church's broader attitude towards faith and reason. The Shroud of Turin occupies a unique place in the Catholic Church, balancing it between a revered religious icon and the subject of an ongoing scientific investigation. The Vatican's careful stewardship of the shroud reflects its importance to the faith while also acknowledging the mysteries and the questions that continue to surround this relic. And this topic, it really fascinates me, just thinking about that for a second, how, like I said, they don't know, they're not saying yes or no for sure, but they still revere it and they still are kind of treating it like a magical object, even though they don't know. And, I was just thinking about this topic and I like to talk about this. One of the things that I wanted to add on my end was there's a part where in the story of the Bible where after Jesus, he goes to this, they take his body, they wrap him in this linen cloth, and they take him to this place where it has this door, and it's John the Baptist's burial site. And they come back, they find, after he was resurrected, they find that the shroud had been folded up and placed on the side. So he kind of took care of this, he folded it up. And the thing is the synchronicity here is that back in the day, there was there was masters and there were servants, and the master would come, the servant would prepare the meal on the table and set the table and put everything on the table down, and then the master would come and he would eat, and the servant would stand by. And so the servant would eat, and when he was done with his meal, he would take the napkin and he would crumble it up and then he'd put it on his plate like we do here. When we're done, we wipe our face with our napkin and we put it on our plate. And that kind of symbolizes that, I'm done. And now the servant can take away all the, take the food away, take all the things off the table and start putting away everything. But then if the servant, maybe like he had to do something, the master, if he had to do something like go to the bathroom or something, he would, and he wasn't done with his meal, he would fold the napkin up and set it to the side, symbolizing, hey, hold on, I'm not done yet, I'll be right back. And so that's where I'm taking this story to, is that, Jesus, he folded up the napkin, he folded up the shroud and set it aside like, I'll be back. And so I thought that was a pretty interesting, just like kind of added to it there. I think this topic, or this relic, I do want to believe in it. Like I said, I would love to go to Turin, to Italy, to see it if it was available for people, just to be in the presence of it and see, if it does anything, if it has any kind of feelings or anything like that. But to me, I feel like there is something there. Not knowing is part of it. Not knowing exactly, what's going on or why it's like that. That's part of it. So I think it does have to do with faith and religion, and it has to do with beliefs in these weird objects that are out there. And is there more? That's another good question. I highly recommend reading Diana Pasulka, American Cosmic. It gets into this topic pretty good, and other UFO topics. But I just want to know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. You guys think, yeah or no, or do you think it's supposed to be a mystery? It's supposed to remain a mystery. That's what I believe. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for listening to the Temple of the Owl. And thank you for listening on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Thank you guys. Blessed be.
For many centuries, witchcraft has been considered evil, associated with the devil and all things dark. Let's break these stereotypes with your host, Matt Sow, of the Temple of the Owl. Let's talk about magic of the old ways, explore the many roles of the witch, learn the tools of the craft, the history of the science behind this ancient earth-based religion on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. For centuries,